Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Starting a couple minutes late here. My audio controller decided to just die right as I was gonna go start the stream. Computers. Anyways, happy Friday. We are around another stream, and we're switching up topics a little bit from what we have done in the past handful of streams. Actually, this is still running on the Dove server. I forgot to, well, what I have pushed up to Netlify right now is not actually working. But on the previous streams, we were working on getting highlighting working. That's still didn't quite finish that up, but it's okay. We'll set that aside for the moment as far as the stream is concerned. Because I think we've pretty much hit the value of all the content there. But today we're going to go back to some Tauri stuff in a little bit of a different wrapper, as it were. We're going to be playing around with elk. Elk is if y'all have gotten into Mastodon, elk is a Mastodon client. They originally made it for web, and I think it was private initially. I honestly don't remember offhand. I want to say it was private. And then they opened it up, and so a bunch of the folks that are working on within and on the VT ecosystem are also involved with this. Good folk. Patak, Anfu. I've never actually said a bunch of these like out loud now that I'm actually reading them. But Daniel, familiar faces if you've been around the VD ecosystem at all. Lovely work. It looks real nice. Feels very much like Twitter, and I am appreciative of the dark mode. I am a user of the dark mode. And somewhere in that point, we started joking about what it would look like to run that as a native app, and that's how elk-native was born. Jonas, also from the Tauri team, I think was the one that made the joke and then made it happen, and now has become a maintainer of it. But we're gonna look into this, explore it a little bit, look at the integration that we have with Tauri. It is still pretty new, so there's missing implementations and things that need to be wired up. And I think we'll explore that a little bit. I do actually have it running on the side here. This is within, we're on Windows, and this is within Tauri. And I think I'm on the latest. I think they actually released a new version of Elk today? 6.1. Oh, I guess it's not too far behind. Hey, Peter. No, it's not the latest. Okay. I thought there was a new one after. Is 0.6.1 the latest? I mean, according to this it is, but I thought I could have sworn I saw an even more recent one. I don't know. It's been a day. I've been running around, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, the stream is starting. I need to actually like get stuff spun up here. But anyways, so that's going to be something that we need to kind of keep track of. In the web hosted version, the people maintaining the server that are hosting the instance can kind of keep it up to date, so the user doesn't have to worry about it. But since we're wrapping this in an app, the user needs to update the app to get the new version, and we also need to, in maintaining this implementation, need to push out new versions for it. The latest should have the white elk logo. Okay, that's an easy way to tell, right? So let's go ahead and clone this down, and we'll poke around. this a little bit bigger here. So the way I do my folder structure, I actually have my folders set up to where I think it's fine. I think it's fine doing everything in here. Yeah, there's nothing in here that I'm worried about. Client work is nested in a folder. I've got all my folders set up to basically match GitHub's routes. So what I did is I created a new folder for Elk Zone and cloned it into that, and now based on the folder structure, my prompt then matches, which is kind of nice. I feel like it's a nice indication of where we're working at. And it seems like what we have here is that src Tauri is the Tauri integration, and this is primarily going to be where our Rust lives. Not too much going on. A little logger, it looks like. That's about it. And then this right here is gets a module. So rather than like copying the code every time there's an update or whatnot, it looks like Jonas, I'm assuming this was Jonas, chose to do a get some module. Can I haven't actually done a submodule in VS Code. Can we get it from here? I feel like with the switch to monorepos, my usage of submodules have basically gone to 0. Yeah. Submodules aren't awful. Like, I'm not going to throw too much hate at them, but I feel like it's something that you sort of have to, like, understand how they work. And that's not something that I feel confident putting on people coming in to contribute. Like, you're already getting spun up in a new project and trying to understand what's all going on. Throw in more Git magic, as it were, and it complicates things. Yes, I see you. Come on. Come on up. Come on up. Kitty is being shy. She likes to lick the green screen, so I see everything moving by me. It drives me bonkers. Yeah, okay, yeah. Not in what Andreas said. Do the init in the CLI instead of VS Code, which I think is just this, right? I mean, it's been like years since I did get some modules. You're trying to convince the team to switch to monorepo because you feel the submodule only causes problems. Yeah. I think it made sense to have it separate initially until like there's a little bit of traction, but it does seem like there's a decent amount of interest. I can understand it. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this src Tauri folder, and I mean we had discussions over the years on changing that, but at some point it was just decided, and that it was the default, and the default stuck, and now we kind of just we have it. But if we put it into like a monorepo, we still could like set up all the build scripts and have separate build targets basically, and it would all work. This would definitely having an src Tauri at the root would bug me in a monorepo situation. It would work though. Okay, so get some module add. I think it's just the. Yeah, it looks like it. Give it a shot. It seems like it's gonna take a hot minute. So while we're waiting for that, we've got No scripts in the root. Update in it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, because there's, yeah, it's already there. My computer is crying today, apparently. Everything else running, right? Not really, no. I gotta say, I am just eyeing up all the new components and stuff that are coming out. All the new... I mean, I stream on Windows. I also have a Mac, though. I'm One Air on this, over on this side here. And... boy, all the new hardware, AMD's stuff, NVIDIA's stuff, Intel stuff, all the M1s. I think it might be time to build a new computer. Wow, what are we? We're not dropping any frames though, so that's good. Stop. Every week. I don't know what the deal is with she's just like licking the green screen. Yeah, okay. So I've got Rust Analyzer and Flowistry installed in VS Code. That's what's running right now. I was wondering why I was taking so slow, or why I was going so slow. But Rust Analyzer essentially is doing like a Rust check, I think it's basically doing in the background, which is fine. But when I open up the main.rs, it started doing that in the background. So we basically have a Rust compile running, and that's why all of our other scripts are taking a little bit of time. Okay, so we got our elk. Oh, there's a stackplex. I need to play around with stackplets more. It seems like it's come a long way since I touched it last. Okay, so we've got a dev and a start. This might not work on Windows, so we'll have to deal with that potentially. And our SRC Tauri. I wonder if the expectation here is to run it through cargo. Should just read the docs. Yeah. I wonder why it chose to yeah, it doesn't even have it in the dependencies. Yeah, so there's a couple ways that you can start your dev. The default like create app puts a bunch of scripts in the root, and I think it has Tauri CLI as a dev dependency. So there's basically like two ways that you can get into and start a Tauri app. There is via cargo, or there's via JavaScript, I guess you could say. So depending on what package manager you're using, it sort of determines that. So it looks like PNMP, which I do not have installed, so we're probably going to deal with that. Yep, so it looks like PNMP. I think I'm going to need to do an install, so I'm going to have to get PNMP. And it looks like the expectation is this. So what I've done let's open up another project that I have recently touched. This will work. I think this was created via the default create Tauri app, the new one I believe, and it adds Tauri app CLI as a dev dependency. So when you install in the root, and this might be potentially the way to do it if we move into a monorepo, because then if you are sort of like a Rust default user, you could use cargo. If you're a PNMP, I guess in this case, default user. So like depending on which your preferences, you would be able to run it from either way. And just doing an install on the root would then give you the code necessary to actually start it up. I'm actually going to try the cargo Tauri dev, because I don't think I've tried it yet, to be honest. I just tend to use the Tauri app CLI because that's sort of the first integration that we had built. Let's get PNMP. I use Volta. Unfortunately, Volta does not have support. What are you doing, Volta? I swear nothing is working today. I use Volta, which is nice. Unfortunately, for multiple reasons, it doesn't actually have support for PNMP yet, which is pretty much the only reason I haven't actually tried it. I haven't worked on any projects that use it, so I haven't had the need. And I haven't personally decided to try it because I was waiting for Volta to do it, but it's been taking its sweet time. Alright, are you just gonna crash my I think our Rust compiler is finally finished. The nice thing about it running, now when we run cargo Tauri dev, there we go. The build of that is going to be a heck of a lot less. Can I do Volta? We're just going to try it. Did they add it and I just didn't notice? Look at that. Whatever. I'm not even gonna. We're gonna roll with it. PNMP. No. PNPM. There we go. I feel like I always mix that up too. And we need I think we're just doing an install, right? Yeah. I really appreciate what PNMP has been doing. Installs are fast. The offline cache is really nice. The focus for monorepos is really nice. I just, clients got stuck on Yarn and they're on Yarn version 1 and they continue to use it. And just, it's hard to justify kind of dealing with that kind of tech debt. Stop looking at my green screen. Okay, so we got that. Let's do cargo install. I should have it. I'm gonna go ahead and just do an install again to get make sure I've got the most recent. Stop. Oh. Say hi to Kitty. So Peter, have you used Tauri before? Or is this sort of your first introduction to it? Now when this is done, we're going to do cargo Tauri dev, and that should start up. We should have everything set up to work. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And that, when we run that, that is going to be running the Tauri conf JSON commands, and we've got the before dev command and the dev path. I guess probably the distr and the before build command are more for the build. But you can see that we're interesting, changing into the directory and running npm dev, which I guess makes sense because we're doing a git submodule, so you can't really that's probably part of the reason for the way we have it set up is with the git submodule. Some of this is you can't kind of bring that up to the root package JSON, which is where I tend to operate when I'm working with monorepos. But that's going to run npm run dev, which might actually work on Windows because we've got a port set in our command here. So we'll have to deal with that. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. This is probably the biggest reason I want to do an upgrade, at least for streaming. This works fine for pretty much all the JavaScript, TypeScript type stuff. Doesn't struggle too bad. But these Rust compiles plus streaming, not the quickest. You were contributing to Elk and you saw the native app is using Tauri and needs some love. Nice, nice. Yeah, so I think, I suppose we can kind of talk about a couple of the things that I was seeing as I was exploring. It seems that if you click... Oh, hey. I had links that weren't clicking before and I just clicked it and it worked. Okay, okay. So I think the links are working. Maybe that was something that Jonas just fixed in the more recent release. We have had a couple of people say that if you go into notifications and you do, I guess enable push notifications, you get this. Enable notifications in your browser. And there's some conversations about the service workers, but within Tauri, let's go ahead and pull up the docs while we're waiting for this. There is we should have it in the Tauri conf, I think. Bundle security. There is the content security policy option, I guess you would call it. And this is going to be blocking this is probably going to be the primarily where we're going to deal with enabling some of these integrations. You could theoretically just turn them all on and just have it wide open, but it's not good security practice. I think we've actually switched the default to not have them all enabled because the defaults tend to be the thing that people use. And if it works, they just don't think to check. So we'll probably peek at that a little bit. And then there's also the updater, which Jonas and I were talking about. I think it's using the default prompt, but we could potentially change that to open up a new window and we can style the window or style the content in the window better than just the default prompt that comes up. I feel like that's going to be hard to test though. And I haven't actually gone into the updater stuff too much. I started when we were first implementing it, I don't know, a year ago or something. I started digging into it and then I just got sidetracked and never was able to come back to it. So I actually haven't gotten any further than the initial implementation and the basically this kind of config stuff. But I think it where is it? Is it in... trying to remember where we have the docs for this. Yeah, okay, so there's events. Yep. So what we can do is we can otherwise JavaScript. Okay. Install update, check update. So we're probably going to have to disable the built-in dialog. Would be my guess is what we're going to prefer to do. And then if a new version is available, the event is emitted. So we can listen to this event on the Rust side. And when the app is opened, if that event fires, then we can open up a new window that says, hey, there's a new update. And I think it'll be nicer to have a separate window that opens up on the side of this, because it's something that you could like close separate or interact with this separate from the other additional window that pops up. But then this will let us open up a new window. Probably a web view window, I think makes sense. And then we have access to anything that we would normally have in the web view. So we could style it in the same vein as this. We could take the markdown content that we're getting from the release notes, and style that better. Because right now, I don't know. What would be a good way to test this? I don't really feel like blitzing my personal install here, I guess. But do we have a screenshot in here? I think somebody took a screenshot of this. Nice. I appreciate the participation always. Improve update experience. This has got to be it. Yeah. Okay. I would say I could have sworn somebody took a screenshot of it. There you go. You did. I mean, this is the Mac one. It looks a lot better than the Windows one. The Windows one is even more awful looking. It's the can I do it from here? Was that window.prompt? I think is what it's using. Hi. No, I guess that's the Chrome instance. So that doesn't even look that bad. All right, come on. One more dependency, and then we can get the Tauri app started. But that's what we could do there. So we can listen to the event. When that event fires, I think from the back end and on the Rust side of the code, we can open up a new window with the whatever content we want. So we could have all of the old release notes and just the current version. We've got options. So I don't know what the plan is for. Do we have anywhere in here that sort of gives release notes or anything? Interface. I don't see anything. So like we could potentially do something where if we have a page in here that has the release notes or anything about anything that would be valuable for somebody wanting to opt into updating or not, we could have a specific page here that we would basically just open up when we see an event. We would open up a page there in the separate window. There's an update button that shows when there's an update event available for PWA. Okay. Does that show? Is that just like a pop-up overlay kind of thing in the interface? Tauri Bundler, you got. You're the last one, right? Or is there one more? Is it Tauri Bundler? Either way, we're so close. So I know on the Tauri site we have, is it, things have moved around a little bit since I've actually dug into some of this. Sponsors. We used to have a release notes page. Did we remove it? Community, blog, references, API. We might have actually removed it. Huh. There we go. Interesting that we don't see a link for it anymore. So I mean, something like this is potentially maybe a solution where we have got a page that has release notes, and then we're basically just, it's something that would be potentially applicable to both the web interface and the native app. There's a components, PWA, view, and prompt. Got it. Components, PWA, badge, and client. Show. What do you? Yeah, sure. Kind of surprised I don't have that installed. I don't honestly write much view, but I know enough to like be able to read it and sort of get my feet wet. And that's for the service worker. Okay. So a button pops up, it updates the service worker, and then that's what I'm presuming cannot find. This is another reason that I don't know if you use VS Code, but some of this stuff just expects things at the root. So this whole submodule thing presents problems for that, because we don't have any of that at the root. So our extensions in VS Code might not work, which is unfortunate. Okay, so I mean that's an option. I think trying to think of a good way to, because we want to listen to the event and we want to open up a window. We could do it in that same spot. Where is? I guess let's just search for PWA. Where's that pulled in? Is this using Vue or is it using Nuxt? Looks like Nuxt, right? Because we've got a Nuxt config, so it's got to be using Nuxt. Feat PWA Nuxt options. So is the PWA implementation? Yeah, inject manifest. I presume the PWA implementation is through Nuxt. Is what it sounds like. Let's disable PWA when in preview mode. Is service worker.ts a generated file? Let's go to elk and we will npm. I know I'm going to spell that right. I don't know. I don't know why I have such trouble. Like, it's just npm with a p in front of it. But I always say like pnmp is what I always end up typing and saying. Yeah, let's just do dev. Yeah. Oh. Oh, did I just install the root? So this is another thing. Like, we don't. This isn't even set up as a monorepo. Even ignore the whole submodule thing. So we have to install in the folder. Is that what the README says too? Oh yeah, yep, CD. Okay. More installs. So I'm presuming that service worker.ts is a generated thing coming from Nuxt. Workbox. Vite plugin PWA. Okay. Vite PWA Nuxt options. So it sounds like there's an implementation going on with Nuxt. And Vite's or Nuxt hooks into Vite. So does the when you get the prompt, is it just like a PWA prompt, or is there actually something that shows up in the like DOM itself? I'm guessing it's probably the former. Shows up as a like toast notification. And I guess that's the next thing too, is if we're gonna show release notes, which is a question. I think there's potentially some value in showing release notes, but then if that's the expectation when you're writing release notes, you probably want to be writing them with the expectation that it's a consumer of the app that's reading these. Which I feel is something that people tend not to think about. When they're writing, when there's pushback from somebody making a changelog, it's because they are in their commit message and in their PR writing the exact same information as they put in the changelog. But those are different consumers. And I think that's just something that people don't tend to think about. So that question aside, if the content that we're putting in there, it's either something that we could have like a very minimal just HTML, or we could throw Vue in there and have markdown formatting or what have you. Obviously that potentially increases the load time of the prompt. Okay. I'm surprised I didn't have to do anything with this board. Ah, okay. Because I ran dev, not start. Node output. Got it. Okay, so build is going to build the assets. Dev is just going to run their dev server. Dev PWA will run the dev server with PWA enabled. And we got a bunch of mocks. env.mock. Okay, so that would be like mocking a logged in user. I gotta say, personally, I'm not a huge fan of mocks. But I understand. I understand why it's used. And then start would be starting the... Okay, nice. You got HTTPS. Local start. I dig it. I dig it. I definitely do appreciate this. Like, y'all are thinking about it. I would it would be a bunch more work, but I would say that swapping out the mocks for something a little bit more real would be nice, but you know, that's not an insignificant amount of effort. And not real as in, I'm thinking more like simulation, less running Docker, what have you, to have actual data there, or actual like sign in auth stuff. You can check if the badge by forcing if is true. Nice. Yep. Okay. So that would be okay. We got a web client. I keep distracting myself here. Let's check this out, and then we'll start the V14. Do I have a Twitch account? Yes, I do. I do have a Twitch account. I used to stream on Twitch. I streamed on Twitch for a year and a half, I think. Full name, twitch.tv/JacobBolda. But the discovery on Twitch, I think I just stream it on odd time too. Like, this isn't a great time for you know, folk over in Europe or even further east from Europe. Wow, we were zoomed out. You know, so. But the discovery was just, it was just difficult. I got much better interest and traction on YouTube here, so I thought it was best to just put all my eggs in this one basket. Okay, so if we start, we got the web app, and you said if we do vf equals true, in the components PWA, badge. So if PWA needs a refresh, we do that. So we could just say true. So if oh, hey, are we getting some looks like we're getting a little bit of help. It's not gonna let me comment that out, is it? Okay, that's fine. So if I go ahead and refresh, hot module might have actually reloaded it for me. I need to run the PWA version as well, right? Dev PWA, I'm presuming. Uh, 5314. Yep. Okay. You might need to be logged in. Okay. Okay. Reactivity transform is an experimental feature. I dig that. That's fun. Is it still starting up? Yeah, starting up. Okay. Wow. And then we'll try, once we see this PWA prompt, then we'll try starting up in Tauri. I think that's probably the biggest thing, eh? The update prompt and syncing it up with how we're doing PWA, the manifest and such. I guess there's the issue with getting the version updated anytime there's a new version of Elk web, Elk proper updated. But if we do a moderate bow, that might solve much of the issue. Here, let's go ahead and sign in. I live at hackyderm.io. Wait for this to go a little bit. Doing it live. None of this is, my email address is public, so it's fine. I think it's the prompt and syncing up how we're dealing with PWA, because we don't really need PWA in the native app because we have all the assets there. So we don't need to. We could potentially like do some downloading and like network communication there, but honestly I don't know that it's really worth it. Okay, so we've got the PWA started. We've got it set in the badge to be true. Badge VF is true. I guess where does this button show up? Is that on the like about page or something like that? Ah, I see the white. I'm not seeing anything. Complete side note. I appreciate that. Also, grayscale mode. I just saw somebody post about that too in the Discord, I think. Yeah. This is why I like Mastodon starting to come into its own. It should show up in the title bar on the home page. Oh, that's cool. Is that actually on the main Elk site too? Where's the elk.zone? Yeah, I appreciate that. Very dev-centric, but I like that. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Does this show up under? Oh, then it's not. It works on your computer. V if true, PWA. Course. Do you have to run the HTTPS? Is it showing? Did I miss it? Now it shows. Oh, hey, okay, yep. Oh, I saw it now. Yep. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yep. Yeah. I was just seeing if there's any other. Yeah, you were logging stuff out here. So if you click on the button. It's not doing anything. It's supposed to pop up a window. I mean, I guess I could go. What? There's a Chrome service workers or something like that. Chrome. Just show up in here, right? Guessing it's this one. Okay, so it just updates in the background. Okay. I mean, it might be updated already too, so refresh. I guess maybe too, since it's already updated. If I'm clicking it, it's firing something off and no opping. Anyways, so that's kind of where the button shows up. So we can listen for that event and sort of opt into showing it if there's one available. And when you click it, it open up a new window. I guess if we're going that route, we sort of have two ways to go about working with Tauri. And you can kind of mix and match. We have JavaScript, TypeScript, and the Rust backends side of things. There's different reasons to use both. But in some cases, like the functionality that we look to implement could potentially be done with either. So here we've got the JavaScript API. And like this would probably be a small snippet of code that we could drop in here and have a button that would do this. We could also listen for it on the Rust end and pop open, just straight up popping up, open a new window, which might actually be, that would definitely be more intrusive, but I feel like that's a little bit more desktop app expectation. So like we could potentially do listen on the Rust side of things and just straight up open up a new window. I guess I'm gonna kind of, I feel like that's a discussion to be had. That's not something that I'm gonna just sit here and try to dictate that you all should do. But like this is, we could just straight up listen for events this way. So like this would be an option. And let's see, we can listen to Tauri update available. So this here is basically emitting to, so the other side of this is testing. So y'all have clearly thought about doing or dealing with it on the service worker side, where you're starting up the service worker, you're starting up a local dev HTTPS cert to deal with all these complexities that service workers introduce. It would be nice to think about that too as we're getting into the desktop app implementation. So like we could potentially do something where we're listening for these statuses, but we could have custom statuses that the Rust backend listens for and then like pushes to the specific window that we care about. And then I think the reason for doing that would be we could have hotkeys only in dev mode that you could just press and it would fire off the event. And that would, I think, potentially make it easier to test. Right? I'm pretty certain we got hotkeys working, right? Yeah, okay. Should probably put something in here. I think what we did is we moved all the plugins. I'm guessing this moved into the... We've run out of pins. We have run out of pins. There is a plugins workspace now where I'm presuming the plugin moved to. It's not that it just got deprecated. Right? Hotkey. Maybe we did move this one in here. Did hotkey get put into Tauri proper? What did we do with the hotkeys? Global shortcut. It's not hotkey anymore. That's probably why. Shortcut. Yeah, there's a shortcut handler. Enable all global shortcut APIs. Yeah, so this is kind of what we had originally started with as far as security configuration goes. We said this is how to enable all of it, and then you should not do that. But like this is going to be the thing that people copy, so we're kind of moving back away from it. Yeah, so we can register a shortcut, and then like that might be a way that we could also test it. So in dev mode we could have we've got to have that on the Rust side of things too, right? Submenu system tray. That's the other thing. We could do system trays too. I think because right now what happens when it doesn't show up in the system tray at all, and when you close it, I think it just straight up closes. It's like it's gone. We could have it minimized to the system tray or have that as an option. And I think, oh hey, look at that. That's the update message right now on Windows. Here, let's go ahead and snip this. And yes, I noticed the ping. I just haven't had a chance to get back to it. So I think we have options. It's supposed to be covector. Jonas, you spelled it wrong. So right now covector is, I think Jonas switched it to creating the changelog, or excuse me, creating the maybe not. We were talking about a couple different ways we could do the workflow here. But I think, yeah, it looks like he was able to have a chance to switch it over. So I think Covector is creating the GitHub release, and I believe this manifest that includes this. So like we have control about the content coming in and where we're getting it, but also I guess if it's a manifest, we are going to have like a JSON blob probably. Main elk repos using conventional commits. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's reasons for either way. Oh yeah, manifest. That's what I was looking at. So I think he said he was just putting the manifest in the release, or no, or where is he committing it? Yeah, so notes, there you go. So we're getting a JSON blob with information about the release. So when there's an update that goes out, you set up your app to point to a URL, and that URL needs to serve JSON, and the JSON blob is read in. So when we get the and that would actually work with the if we set up a hotkey in the Rust side of things where we press the hotkey, we could get this update notification to trigger basically. So we could have everything act like an update is available and just not actually update the app, and we could have it no op at the end if it's a fake one. And that's probably going to be the easiest way to test sort of the flow and how that comes in and how it looks, I think. But we have control over the content, but the content is just coming in as a string. So we're basically gonna end up having to, if we want to make it look nicer than the string, which I'm presuming we want to, I think we throw it in a web view window. And I mean, do we use Nuxt? Like, how fast does this thing start out? Reasonably fast. It might make sense. It might make sense to do that. Does Nuxt use does it have a built-in like Markdown parser or renderer rather? Because there's a like MDX.js Vue implementation, right? Does it use MDX? Document article. Okay, so there's Nuxt components that we can view components in Markdown. Okay, no. I'm guessing we could just we're gonna need to, if we're getting a string coming in and we want to render the string, we're gonna have to have a client-side Markdown parser/render. And I'm guessing these implementations where it's handling the Markdown are not client-side. That's probably build time, right? So we may, do we have a string implementation of it? I guess we could do an HTML implementation of it. Do the release notes in straight HTML and just render HTML like an HTML string. I'm definitely less familiar with Nuxt, so open to suggestions on what the best way to deal with that would be. Let's get this thing started up in elk-native though. We're gonna stop you, and we should now have cargo Tauri dev installed, and now running that from the root should run the before dev command, which runs Nuxt and does the Rust compile, which I was hoping would be mostly done, but I guess not. Here, global shortcut manager. Yeah, so I think we could potentially register some shortcuts to test this updating process to where, and we can with Rust you can decorate functions in your Rust code to where it's only going to your config attribute, like this only happens on specific subsets of your build. So like we could have something that's like dev only, where the shortcuts only show up when you're in dev mode, and it gives us extra events or extra ways to trigger events that we can use for testing. So I think that's probably going to be the way to go about that. We're almost there. Now with Tauri, we are running in the system web view. On Windows, it's going to be shoot, not web view. Is it web view? Web view. This lack of sleep is catching up to me. It's WebView 2, right? That just sounds wrong. I haven't actually had to look this up for here. Well, yeah, WebView 2, I guess it is. Okay. Why was I thinking it was something different? So WebView 2 on Windows. On Mac, it uses it doesn't use Safari directly, but it's like the Safari renderer, which is WebKit. And then on Linux, it uses GTK, which I think is a WebKit fork, I believe. Okay, so here's our app. We can also play around with the window decorations too. And we can look at the dev tools. So I'm getting it's effectively Edge dev tools. And I think what we do is, what do we want to play with first? Let's go to the configuration. We can play around with the window Chrome. I don't know that that's going to be particularly useful. It's something that I think we'll eventually want to do. This is probably going to be a better building district. Features, here we go. Window menu. So we can adjust the window menu. And we might want to do that. That seems to work fine. But we can like add a window menu in here, and that window menu is definitely gonna look different on the Mac as well. It's probably not worth me spinning it up on the Mac. So like, I don't think there's really gonna be anything that's worthwhile in the menu. Probably just like default help and whatnot. But like we've got the title already. So I think all the default stuff is there. I think the thing that we probably want to do is system tray and yeah, so like we could do a custom title bar. Which might be something that makes sense to eventually do. But this also involves a bunch of HTML, which probably makes sense to do in Nuxt, and I'm going to be slow at that. But we could potentially look at the systems tray stuff real quick. Because I think we probably want to just chuck these in here. Having the option to minimize to tray. I think going off of memory here, but I think when you start up the app, it checks for updates. So having the system tray, you can minimize it to the system tray. It'll let you potentially still get notifications. So I think we could set up like OS, like built-in OS notifications. I'm assuming we're doing that through the PWA right now, and then that happens via the browser. But if we could set up to where we minimize this to a system tray, and then you want to be able to hide, close, and check for updates are probably going to be the big ones, I would presume. So the same thing that we end up doing for listening for events and this, well, I think update check is only on startup. So I think we'll want to do, does it say here? Blah, 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 blah. Built in. So this is the schema that we were talking about before. And the manifest with the notes. We can sign updates, which would be nice to do. And I think we are, because we have a public key. After the user is prompted to restart the application. I don't know. I want to say it only checks at startup. I don't think it's continually pinging. So I think it would make sense to do like a system tray where you could check for events. Let's just throw that in here really quick. And then, I mean, we can always open up a PR for that too. Add item, quit, hide. And yeah, we can do a tray icon. I think last time I played with this, honestly, we didn't have the ability to do that. Was that pre-version 1? I think the last time I played with a system tray might be pre-version 1. Okay, yeah, so this is so if we close it, we could actually opt to continue running it in the background. But I think it probably makes sense to, if you close it, you close it. If you press the minimize button, it actually minimizes to the tray. Let's throw this into the Rust code. So we got main.rs. And we got our Rust analyzer running, which is lovely. And that gives us the inlay hints, which gives us information about the actual types that it's inferring. And we got plugin, run. So we're going to want to I think just toss in the defaults for right now. And tray menu would be those. So in saving this, and this is definitely something that I appreciate about Rust. Their compiler errors are very nice. And since we've got Rust Analyzer running, we also get them in VS Code. And I need to import a bunch of these. You're not going to help me out with that, are you? All right. Unresolved imports. No system tray menu in the root. Seems like so another thing, when we are doing imports, Rust works a little bit different than something like JavaScript is, where if you export something, you're then able to import it. Via like this type of syntax, you can also feature flag things. So if you run into this situation where, hey, it's saying it's unresolved, it can't import it, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're importing it from the wrong thing. We, I believe, need to enable it, but it's not. Okay. I think we need to enable it in the feature flags. We don't actually have that in the docs there. I don't see it. At least last I remember, I think this was a feature flagged thing. You're not gonna help me out, are you? System tray. Available on create features system tray only. So if we update our feature list to include system tray, we're going to get a rebuild here. It's going to download some more code and compile it, and hopefully that syntax editing starts working, and then we're good to go. So the the main elk repo is using conventional commits. So does that mean that, curious how that release process goes while we're looking at this. So on pull request, so it's using the semantic pull request. And release happens on tag. Got it. So part of the reason that we ended up working on and spinning up Covector was the process for releasing meant that we were releasing both Rust and technically just npm, but theoretically other package targets. Like we could publish to like a private npm type instance as well. So we've batted around a few different options to reduce our footprint in just a specific ecosystem registry. But we had multiple targets and nothing out there really supported that well. And conventional commits work. They're fine. But I think part of the thing that it's not that I don't like it. It's that I think that makes it difficult to use in the context of open sources. You're now expecting everybody else to just like get the Git stuff right, which I don't think is the easiest thing. And having a list of markdown files so conventional commits is definitely more common now, so I think that's less of an issue, and expecting people to do this oh nice, Netlify. I didn't realize it was on Netlify. The other thing that I think ends up being nice is the way you can control your releases. When you're doing conventional commits, one PR is one change. But and I think there's things that work with monorepos now and whatnot, but there's less control and flexibility in sort of that release process, and like what's being included in the visibility into it, I think is probably a big thing too. That I don't know if we have version packages open. Having a running PR that has all the changes that are ready to be released next time you publish, I personally really like. And I think that's probably one of the bigger reasons that I appreciate the style of like change set type management or change file type management. Whatever works though, if you're shipping code, that's what you should be using. We had an error. The Tauri dependency features does not match the allow list defined. Okay. So that makes sense. We added it as a feature, and now when we ran, we had a process, the dev process running, so it tried to rebuild, and this error is saying that in our cargo doesn't match the allow list. So I think we need to do system. I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't remember it offhand. Yeah, there's lots of different ways you can do it, and it's sort of fallen into the two camps where you're, especially with CI/CD being much more common now. I think doing CD with conventional commits has gotten much better than it used to be, and it does help encourage that like every PR you're doing, you could end up basically doing a release off of that. And I think there's value in that because it means that you're not just gathering a list of a year's worth of PRs that you're ready to release. You know, there's value in continuing to release and having the deltas between your change being small because that reduces your risk. But then it also makes it more difficult to do. If you're limited by having to try to fit all of your changes into small changes, it makes, I guess, architecting how you're going to work on features more difficult. And I think especially when you're bringing in people outside of a project into a project, or just having outsiders, or I'm not gonna say outsiders, people that are not on the core team contribute to a repository. Like there needs to be a lot more discussion on how you sort of group and work with these changes and get them actually released. So it's whatever works best for the team. When we were first setting things up, we had started using change sets, which is I think it was contracted out to be created by Atlassian. And so think, I can't remember who's, I think they have contractors that are mostly maintaining it at this point. But it only supported NPM, and they didn't have, I worked on a bunch of commits to support more than that and be a little bit more flexible, but ultimately they, despite originally saying yes, let's do it, they decided to not go forward with it. So that's why we created Covector, because we needed somebody to release, and we thought change files were going to be the best for what we were working on. Yeah, change sets is probably the other big popular one as far as like using change files or change sets. I feel like the name of change sets is a little bit weird because like the thing you're doing is a change set. Like that term has been around for a while. I'm pretty certain. So the naming feels odd to me, but that's definitely like the big. That's the big player in the like change file or change delta management type of release process, as opposed to I guess it's what conventional commits and is it semantic release? So, man, it's been a solid year or two since I looked this up. Is it semantic release works with conventional commits? So the like enforcement, there's value there. And for some repos, this is just going to work great. And I think for smaller teams, this probably works really well. But, anyways. We have been using Covector now with Tauri for a while, and that's probably the primary library that it's used on. I use it in some client code and downstream in a couple of other smaller libraries, but primarily we made it for Tauri, and that's what we've been using for some time now. Just because we've got GitHub Actions to publish, we have Rust libraries to publish, we have and Rust only in repos, we have JavaScript only in repos, we've got Rust monorepos, we've got I don't think we have any JavaScript Monterey posts, but then we've got the main Tauri site is Rust and JavaScript. So having that flexibility was really nice, and just having a running list of what is ready to be released. So, it kind of removes that cognitive need to keep all of that in your head. I think that's really helped the team. But whatever gets you to ship, y'all are shipping. So I'm not gonna say that any of your choices are wrong, and there's nothing wrong about conventional commits. Okay, system trays. We need the configuration. Let's turn on the configuration here. And system tray, where are you? We'll turn this on. We'll throw in a quick system tray. I'll probably bring up in the Discord, see if that's something that we actually do want to, once we check it out here, see if that is something that actually we want to include. And we can always throw up a PR for that. Allow list. It's got to be in the allow list, right? Is it in? Okay. Let's go look at the system tray docs. Tauri system tray. Configure the system tray object. Do we need an icon in the system tray? Maybe that's why we have it there. System tray feature. I mean, it specifically says allow list. Process protocol. OS allow list? System tray config. Seems to be the only... Alright. Okay, icon path required. Alright. So let's drop this in our config, and then that should get this to start working. And it's not in the allow list. Security, we're going to put it in right here, I think. It's nested under Tauri. Yep, okay. And I do have, this little extension is nice. I think I have the thanks for the subscription. As we've been talking for a while. Action or extension, excuse me. There's a Tauri. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we still. When was the last time I published? Okay, so this. Oh, last update. Not too bad. That's going to help with some of the validation of this config file, and I think it helps with this. So like as you get the helpers in here, which is kind of nice. So as you get a little bit more familiar with it, you can just go straight to the config and use the extension to help you out in the options, which is kind of nice. Okay, we're going to start that up. We could throw in a system tray here, and then maybe we can maybe try doing an event real quick. I got probably about 20 more minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Let me just double check I don't have anybody. It doesn't look like it. Okay. Oh, that's still going. So this should give us a system tray. And was there anything else in the... If we click links, so I guess another thing is, I don't think we have support for deep links, but I don't think there's any really need for them. Ish. Like if you have a link to Discord, it would be nice to open it up directly in Discord. But I mean, y'all do some custom config for like GitHub links, right? So you do a special social card for GitHub links. I think there's potential for that kind of thing too, where you could do custom stuff that would make sense in the scope of a desktop app. But I think most of that is deep linking, and I don't think we've gotten all the deep linking worked out yet, because that's sort of there's lots of security considerations there. Deep linking, for any of those unaware, is if you're in an app and you click on a link to Discord or Slack, it opens it in your Discord app instead of opening it in a browser. So it would be a link that goes to there's a couple ways you can do it, but if you have like a Discord / URL, that's like that has to be a deep link, because it's not actually like an HTTP link that would open in your default browser. But if you have like an HTTPS Discord, it would be nice to have a browser extension to open elk-native. Yeah. So deep links are something that we wanted to get working, but I think there was... It's a big security thing, but I think there was also something upstream in, I want to say, WebView 2 that was giving us issues. I think it's sort of a combination of support upstream and security things that delayed that, and I don't know the status of it offhand at the current time. Having a browser extension to open elk-native might be a different thing though. So that would be a deep link in like Chrome pointing to something else. So you could potentially, because it's the thing containing the link, and that link needs to, when you click it, open up something else. So as far as I'm aware, deep links do not work in a Tauri app directly. But if you have an extension or something in your Chrome, that might actually be able to do a deep link, because I think Chrome supports the deep links. I think you can have that set up to where when you click it, it would actually open up the elk-native app. I think. I'm not going to go on the record saying that. Did we get Cargo Tauri Dev? We still open it up here? Too many monitors. I don't see it. Oh, yeah, okay. There's an error. Use of undeclared type system tray. So system tray is not found in this scope. System tray is not imported. System tray is not found in the scope. System tray is not found in the scope. System tray is not imported. System tray is not found in the scope. 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 System t So we have tray menu and unused variable tray menu. It's definitely used. I believe you are mistaken. Okay, so we've got, I'm gonna have to move out of the way when I'm clicking this stuff, but we've got the app. There we go. Oh, we got that set to true. I was like, why is that showing up? Yeah. And here we go. We got our system tray. So when we click on it, we are not getting anything. Quit, hide, tray menu, add item, separator, and a hide. So we should have a quit and a hide. And system tray is right there. New with menu. So for some reason we are not getting configure. That all seems to be correct. Listening to events. So this does it in line. I don't know that that really matters. Tray menu. I feel like that shouldn't matter. Let's just go ahead and move it though. You think for it to work, the app has to register URL scheme, for example. Yeah, so that was the one thing that was definitely having me hesitate. And I think that registration has to happen like at an in-app install. And I don't know where we're at on that either. But I think there's two separate things going on there. I think it's the app having to register the deep link, but then it also internally supporting just any deep link. And I want to say the latter is the thing that was giving us issues, and I don't know about the former offhand. Okay, we got this. Tray menu. It's like the tray menu is not on system tray event. So we have a system tray, but this example is a little bit awkward in my opinion, but we need to also listen for the events. So when you click on it, you need to actually like do a thing. So if we like copy and paste this is going to print out to the terminal. And really this is just for like someone to understand what's happening. This is the thing that really matters though. When you click on it, you're going to you're basically mapping the quit and the hide to actual like app functions. I'm surprised it's not opening though. Do we have to import figure this. might end up having to look at the other app that I did, assuming that still works. That was a while ago that I did that. Does this have to be after the with menu builder default system tray? I don't know that I've actually used plugins and system tray at the same time. Okay, yeah, let's throw in this tray event listener. I think we're gonna want it anyways. But I don't know why it's not working yet. So we need to now import system tray events. I think we can just get VS Code to help us out here. And that should... Oh, that's a weird place to put it. Let's go right here. Okay, so we do need... Whoop. No, I canceled it. Oh, well. On Windows, copying and Control C. Control C is copy. Control C also kills the instance. So, womp womp. I have, so this terminal right here is Windows terminal, which is, I think now the default on Windows. I set it up a while ago, so I don't know what the actual copying default is, but I have, or had set up in the past, Control Shift C. So if I forget to do Control Shift C, I kill my process, which is no bueno. So we should get our system tray events now, and then we should be able to see some events coming through in our terminal. What? We ran out of music here. What are we feeling? Let's do a little bit of lo-fi. Okay, so we go on the side here. We click. You can see what kind of clicks I'm doing all the way in my terminal over there. A double click, which is also technically a left click. So we're getting those events, and why aren't we getting the menu to show up? System tray new with menu, tray menu. Insert the menu items here. Oh gosh. Copy and pasting failure. I was defining tray menu twice. Why? I'm kind of surprised Rust Analyzer didn't say something about that. But it's a sort of builder pattern. Terms always escape me. But you instantiate the items and then you add them to the menu themselves, and then you reference the menu when you're starting it up. So now that should give us something that we can work with. There we go. Quit and hide. So if we do hide, we actually, you can't see it, but like you can't get it back up because we don't have anything to actually show it. Because if I click hide, it still hides it. So I can quit. If I quit, that's actually going to kill the process because the app closed. So we got all of this working, and we're basically just hiding the main window. So when Tauri launches, it creates a window called main, and you can spawn other windows off of the main window, but you always have like the default main window. And what we're doing is we're hiding it. Unwrap is a way to take a value that's wrapped in OK and basically remove the wrapper but allow it to potentially panic. So when you're in Rust, you can it is very much like helping you write code to where you don't want your program in a panic, because a panic is like a hard failure. So you want to basically handle any potential error, any place where it could like crash the program. So I mean, technically this is, you probably would want to wrap that, but you know, it works. It's just not as safe as it could be. I'm gonna go ahead and open, I think I've got some code here that I can grab that'll give us a little bit more functionality as far as the quit and hide. And I think it's still gonna work. I was waiting for VS Code to open. I didn't actually open it. So we did a couple played around with a couple different types of apps in past streams. These are all stream content. Sidecar would be a separate binary, so you can include like a Python server or what have you, which is more in the vein of what you might expect from Electron. eGUI is another rendering layer in the window. So instead of a web view, you can use eGUI. And TrayOp is the one that I specifically am interested in, and I'm hoping to we want show, and there should also be some logic here where when you click, it's going to show it and focus it. So it's going to set so it's just presuming that we need to show it. And we're also doing something here where we right click and it'll hide it. And we don't do anything with double click. I think I'm actually just going to copy all this. It seems like this is current enough that it's going to work. And like this might be enough that we have something to have a conversation about. As far as if this is something that we want implemented. So let's go ahead and start this back up again. We'll get this going, and then we're coming on to about 2 hours here. Window. Should we try doing a global shortcut quick? That opens up a window. That might be, I think doing the global shortcuts might be a useful thing that we can jump into real quick here, and it isn't going to take too much time. We'll leave it a little bit on the screen so you can see when that's ready. Do we have anything but shortcuts here? We don't. You can open /compose. Okay. So that would be... I guess that's something too that... This is taking a little bit of time here to start up again. When we're in the app, I don't know how y'all read your social feeds, but I tend to scrolly, and when I want to look at a thing, if I click it, it goes to it, which is a use case. But also having the ability to open it up in a new window might be nice. And what does that look like in here? Because I think if we try to do that, it does actually work. So this is now... It's interesting that it actually has the toolbar. So this is actually opening up a... I guess it's going to the local host. I think it's within a window. Oh, here, we can do this. Yeah, so this is definitely still in a web view. And it's just opening up the URL directly rather than loading it. And like this... I honestly don't know how we would deal with that. But like this could potentially be a little bit jarring where... I have a version of the app here. It doesn't work on Mac. And see, that's the other thing. Mac's got different APIs, some of which are public versus private, as compared to Windows. So, like we can make this window decoration. We could get rid of it. There's also an option to make it transparent. And even having transparency on the window is, I believe, a private Mac API. I know we were discussing in Discord that when you install the Windows app, Windows calls it unsafe and you have to, fork out the money to get Windows to say that your app is actually okay, which is sort of awkward for OSS type apps. I think that also comes into play too with Mac, because if we want to try to put it on the store, we probably can't use private APIs. So if this is something where we're expecting people to just download it and run it directly from a GitHub release, that might be fine. We could potentially use those private APIs and, it's just not going to be on the store. Definitely something to keep in mind. But I think some of these interactions, like you said, they're going to be different on different operating systems. And like this is just WebView, and this might actually only be in here. I should test it. That might just only be in the dev console or in the dev version of it. No, I don't want to update right now. So this is the stable version. So we still do get this. And if I open that up, yeah, it's actually not going to work. So I get the window open, and you can see it's actually using the internal link. If you'd click on it, it would go to that internally. But if you right click and open in a new window, it's trying to open that as URL. I'm not sure how to deal with that offhand. That's something that we'll probably want to dig into though. But those type of interactions and opening up additional windows, I think is probably one of the use cases that we want to think about. And the other one is going to be this update thing. So this works in dev, doesn't work in build. What are our errors? Okay, so these are all... those are Tau. Event loop runner. New events emitted without explicit redraw. I don't think that's a problem. So what were we doing? Oh yeah, system events. So we should have a little bit more to look at here. Shift over a little bit here. Now if we do this, hide. Oh, okay. Well, it shows. I saw somebody requesting a feature about like remembering the last location too. The size of the app too. I think we're gonna have to like do like a local storage thing to save that information, because right now what I'm doing is if you click on it, it's showing it with a set size. And the reason I did this implementation was I was trying to do like, oh, I closed it. I was trying to do an app that was primarily only a system tray app, so that when you clicked it, the window would open basically like right above your cursor. And the expectation was that you never actually had a window that you're interacting with. It was all through the system tray, which would basically open up web view windows anytime you like clicked it. So I don't think we're gonna actually want this. And we're setting all of these, so I think we can probably just get rid of these. Focus is fine. So if we left click on it, and if we right click on it, we hide, and then we have a hide, show, and quit. And oh, I didn't copy the show item, so we have a quit, hide, and show. I think I'm gonna grab all of these. Oop, wrong window. I don't think these APIs have changed since I used them. Custom, quit, hide, show. Oh, that's different. Yep, there we go. So now we should have a show option. And I think we can do conditionals with these, and there's summary rendering of the tray menus, but there's not too much customizability. It's sort of like OS built in. Whoop. I don't want to do code. Cargo, Tauri dev. Let's run that again. We'll check that out. Let's see if we can get a global hotkey working real quick, and get a global hotkey to open up a new window. And we'll get that working, and then I think we're going to call it a day. What did I not do? Unused result. That must be used. Window, show, and set focus. Um, 67. Unused result, that must be used. $61, $67, and $68. Oh, ha. Okay, I'm in the other one still. I was like, those numbers are not lining up. Why does? Oh, This is what I wanted to do. I edited the wrong window. Talking and programming at the same time is definitely a skill set. Let me tell you. Okay, so that's going to not be happy because we didn't delete this. Let it recompile. Unused variable position. That is fine. We don't need, I guess, any of these really. An underscore in Rust indicates indicates that you're not using it. They said it somewhere here, right? Help. Try removing the field. So you can remove it. I thought they said it there. You can also set it to underscore to basically just like ignore it. And we could also remove those and just not specify them, and that would work as well. But show, hide. So I think something like that is probably going to be sufficient, and we can add a check for updates there too if we want. What that'll let you hide it, keep it open all the time, hide it, and then when we get the notifications all squared away, then the app will be able to notify you because it's running in the background basically. So I guess as far as that goes, I think Windows is updated now where their grouping of processes is pretty good now too. So we've got, here I'm just gonna make this window a little bit bigger. I've got the Process Explorer open on the side here. Hopefully that's readable. When it's not visible, we still get a little bit of memory. There's like the overhead in having some of this there. And the web view is still technically open. We could, I think we could potentially close that window, but keep the process running. But like most of this is overhead here, like just having WebView 2 running. That's what's, at least on Windows, taking up the RAM. But process-wise, you're not really getting any CPU overhead for it, just being open. Okay, the shortcuts. Let's give that a shot. And we shall call it a day. So we did system tray, state submenu. Global shortcut enables the global shortcut APIs. So this is the list of cargo features. We need to enable this. We could, this is probably, I'm proposing all these conversations to be had here, but we could potentially have global shortcuts, something like where you can assign a shortcut to just compose a tweet, and you press the shortcut and you get a window open with just the /compose. Is that what you were saying before? Where is, whoa, what is, oh my gosh. Apparently, how long has that been up there? Oh no. Oh no. The event went through, it showed up in my chat, but it got killed before it actually, whatever, it's over there where I'm reading my messages. I didn't actually even see it there. And I don't have hide or delete events considered as far as the chat thing goes. I need to keep an eye on that. It got all messed up anyways too. Oh well. Things to deal with in the future. Feature global shortcut. Build dependencies, features. That's kind of nice. I don't know. I think you can do like a Can you do a dev features? Yeah. Custom protocol is the sort of, okay, restarted and it didn't complain, so that's, you know, a good sign. The custom protocol is the thing that looks like the URL, so like the Tauri // whatever. And basically that's how the like deep linking and routing and stuff works. And a lot of that rolls into how security is handled, is through using those types of links. But I think if I do this, it's only going to enable that for dev. I honestly haven't done like dev only features yet, or had the use case to try it out. It would be nice to know what else is an option in here. But I think that is going to be, you know how I was saying before, where the default always ends up winning. Yep. What are other options there? App allow list config, all app APIs enables show and hide API. Oh wait, global shortcut allow list. Here we go. Type object name all. I thought we had other APIs, but it seems like we don't. Which feels odd. Whoop. Okay, so we want to do global shortcut is not global window event. Global shortcut manager. So this is a trait. It's available on the global shortcut feature only. We can check if things are registered, so we can register. Wonder what accelerator is. I'm gonna go like this. Huh, do we only have TypeScript? So I'm presuming that the syntax is going to be very similar. So here we have a control shift. I think I'm gonna do like control shift B maybe. And we want the global shortcut manager. So now, the beauty of Rust is Shortcut. Let's just see if it can help us out. So we can do register, and I'm assuming accelerator means the hardware acceleration. Cannot find value. So register is going to accept this. And we get a result, and result is going to have either okay or error. Register a global shortcut of accelerator. I wonder if it's only Windows specific. That would be kind of unfortunate. I thought you could do this on the back end, or in the Rust side of things too. Shortcut of type accelerator. You might just throw it in the on the front end here, and so that's a string. And then handler can be not found in the scope. Self value is a keyword only available in the methods was a self parameter. We might actually need to do it in registering it on like startup in here. Let log plugins, log plugin. Unfortunately, with Rust being, with Tauri being such a large project, the things that I've been able to help out with are all on the CI/CD, JavaScript, TypeScript side of things, and my digging into Rust has definitely been not as deep as I had hoped that it would be at this point, because I end up getting sucked into all the other stuff that I am more familiar with. It'd be nice if we had a. I think we got some examples in the main Tauri repo. Let's give that a shot real quick, and if that doesn't work, then I'll throw it on the JavaScript side of things, and we'll roll with that for the moment. What would be a good one? Accelerator example, global shortcuts. Hey, look at that. Perfect. That would be why. Okay. So Tauri is made up of some Rust, of which includes libraries called Tau and Rai. Tau is the where the windowing, and rye is the. Wait, am I mixing this up? I feel like I'm getting rusty. Yeah, Tau is the windowing, rye is the web view. So we had previously bindings to a C++ side of things, and that was a whole thing. But it ended up making sense to rewrite it in Rust. And Tau is the Chrome or the window that goes around it. And I'm presuming we're attaching these events to a window. Okay, so we've got a window, and we're doing event loop stuff. Is this a Tau? Oh, this is just straight up a Tau implementation. It would be nice if we had a streaming state resources. Let's just search in this repository. Core. Do we have any examples? Tooling core examples. So this is in Svelte, so that would be the web view side of things. Maybe we just can't do it in the Rust side of things yet. Let's check out this PR quick. Yep, so this is specifically in that API. All right, we're gonna give that a shot. We're gonna crack open a little bit of the view. We'll be just editing the Git submodule directly, which is meh. But it's fine. The question is, where do we put it? We need to register some shortcuts, and then we're basically just like awaiting on them. And doing that in view, I'm just gonna make sure I remove this. I think it's gonna give us issues. Definitely a little bit unfamiliar with how Nuxt projects come together. So we've got I guess there's no source directory. Mock middleware layouts, const config. We have some functions in here. This feels very like server worky. API. So public is all the static content. Pages. We've got an index. And I don't know if we can do these script tags. Can we do async? Can we do async in the script tags? Settings, search. I think pretty much the only view that I've like read or gotten into. Blinking on their name. Here, let's go. Rely on social things. Thanks for that follow too. Where are we? Ben. I watch Ben do a lot of view. Ben does a little bit on and off for reasons and whatnot, but when Ben does stream, Ben tends to do Obsidian or View. Those seem to be very popular topics with the things on stream. And that's pretty much all my exposure to Vue. I mean, I've seen other people do it, and I've like looked at the code and whatnot. But actually, like working on a Vue application, everything that I've seen is pretty much been done by Ben. Appreciate what they do. I don't see anything actually using async in here though. So there are imports. I mean, we could just give it a shot. Use head fixed. Define page metadata. So that's like specific. Use router. That is all very like page building specific. Notifications, what's that look like? So on the home page, we get a main content. We're doing it live, y'all. Where's main content coming from? We're doing some middleware stuff. So I don't know how we have a components folder, right? Yeah. So main content. So it must just be using the components folder. And we have a script to find props. So props would be the thing that determines what's coming into all of our components within the template. PWA badge we see. We got some flexbox. Ooh, this is using slots, which I'm vaguely familiar with. We define a slot, and then I think you can use a slot. Itself will be replaced. Div closes. This is just a slot by itself. So there's like a header slot that we can like dump content into, which is just below the like top nav bar. Okay. I still don't actually see any async though. Find in folder. There is some asyncs. So this is defining Can you only use async in components? So like user input type async. Unhydrate. Oh, okay, here you go. Unhydrated. Await next tick. So it seems like we can do, and that's in the script. So don't do what I'm gonna do. I'm sure this is probably the wrong way to do it. You're gonna do an on hydrate on. It's a function, right? How much is this gonna complain at me? Cannot find name on hydrate. Quick fix. Unhydrated, yes. Hydrated. Cannot find name. Oh, you still doing your thing? Import and export only appear at the top level. Fair. Okay, what do we got next? Cannot find name on hydrated. Unable to register accelerator with register hotkey. Okay, that's something. I was gonna switch this to be what did I say? B. Control Alt F12. Okay. This is going to show up in our web view, I'm presuming. So we will go ahead and open up our console here. Corsairs, that's fine. So now if I do in our web view here, I'm gonna do Control Shift B. Shortcut, Command, or Control. Oh boy. Okay. Apparently that's a used shortcut already. So it's getting triggered. So the hacky unhydrate thing seems to work. And then we can do. We are just going all in on this. If we hear thing, let us open a window. So it's one of these. We can emit and we can listen. Window manager. I don't really care about the available monitors. So we can create a new one. We can just load a URL. And we don't really want to listen to the event. App window is going to give us the existing window. Alright. I feel like I keep copping out. And just going back to old projects is where I figured this out. We've talked about like reformatting our, so that output there is basically a type doc output. And it is smushed into Markdown in which DocuSource can read. But we lose a lot of that like fidelity that's really nice with TypeDoc. And I think just the docs on that in general can be filled out a little bit better. We could do, rather than using API docs, we could go to the guides and multi-window. This is probably going to be much better for what we want to do. This is all the Rust side of things where we can create windows from the Rust side of things. But here we want to create a window. Okay, so it's going to do it async, which is fine. Where are we? Elk-native. So anytime we do this, we're going to open up a new window, and we're going to go just to, was it elk.zone, I think? It's pretty or not, actually. Do you need to actually do all those function imports and such? Fix all, sure. I'm sure that's like a configuration thing too. Okay, so this should be running. So now if we're gonna do, what was that other shortcut that we did? Control Alt F12. Control Alt F12. Control Shift B. That's really, what is that interaction? Is that new? That must be like a new interaction thing. Couldn't find the callback ID in window. Stop. This happens when the app is reloaded while Rust is running in async. Oh my goodness. Okay, so new events emitted without. It's fine. All right, let's go. We did a whole handful of streams on multi-window in which we played around with and made this app. I think it's in here. Window control. All right, window creation, create windows. So we're using WebView window. Now when somebody clicks, we do create window, and create window is going to set window is use state. This is all React, by the way. We're doing a new WebView window. I think that's basically what we're doing here, right? All right, let's close that one. New WebView window. So unique label. Let's do a different. Control Alt. Oh, I was doing Control Shift. Okay. So if we do Control Alt F12, doesn't seem to do anything. Control Alt F12, Command or Control. Oh, does this matter? Yeah, there's no Alt on Mac, so Control Alt F12 would only work on Windows, but Command or Control. All right. What's gonna be something that isn't actually like a used shortcut? Q, maybe Q. We're gonna go ahead and just refresh this to make sure that it is actually registering that. And Control Shift Q. There. What is this? So there's, whoa, yeah, we're getting like the web view shortcuts too, which is really awkward. Okay. Is there anything else that we can do? Can we just do Control Q? How do I get it like out of this selection mode? Control Shift X, Control Shift S. All right, just refresh. All right, let's try Control Q. Okay, that doesn't do anything wonky. So there, Control or Command Q. Give this a refresh because it's not saved yet. Go ahead and save. There we go. Shortcut, Command, or Control triggered. Now we're getting Windows. It's the View Inspector. Oh, that explains it. So is that's a View DevTools thing? That's kind of nifty. I've only ever really used the React DevTools. That I actually don't even know if they come in. Yeah, they don't even really come in here. That's really cool that it does that. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're getting the event. I'm not seeing the window being created though. Which is interesting. Let's just set. Whoa, okay, what are we doing? Did ID this? You're coming from React as well, yeah. I have to imagine that that's not uncommon. Nothing against Vue. I just haven't had a use case to actually like dig into it yet. There's only so many things you can learn, you know. All right, we restarted. I'm hopefully doing like a unique ID. I don't know if that was having something to do with it. This should be creating the window though. Tauri apps API window. It is possible that we need to enable an API though. Did we not do that? It must be unique and can be used at runtime to access the window instance. So you can create windows via Rust, which that, I think that example. No, maybe we're just creating it all from JavaScript. This is all Rust. So if we do new web view window, we just give it an ID and then that. All right, let's do a control Q. So we're getting the log, but it's just not opening a window. So this could very well be something with my kind of hacky implementation of how we're doing it in Vue. Because I don't know that this... We don't do any listening either, right? We're just doing new web view window. And this is what ends up creating the window. And here we're just saving the metadata that we used to create it so we can come back to that window later. We can also attach to existing windows via the same API. And here we're emitting an event to that specific window. So we like grab a handle to that window and then we emit an event to that window. And in this case, what it's doing is it's like that the new window creation in this app gives just undecorated or dynamically sized windows. The HTML there is just listening for events and changing the background color. So like you can have as many windows as you want with whatever color you want and transparency, presuming it's... I know it's turned on for Windows. I don't remember what I did for Mac. But we're basically from a primary window tracking all these other windows that we're opening and being able to change the colors from this primary window. So on click of create, we are creating the window, and that's exactly what we're doing here and in this code. We are getting the registered event and we're getting the log, but it's just not doing that. Let's look at this register function real quick. Was it just in the API docs? Global shortcut. So we can check if something is registered, and we can register a specific command. Wonder if there's some like scoping thing going on. Unregister, unregister all. So it's clearly being registered and we're clearly getting this log, but this is not working. you have to like... See that, like, that doesn't feel... Doesn't seem like you actually need that, right? Even the console.log is... Oh, okay. It's just saying, hey, don't do that. We... short command. So this is the Rust logger, I think, listening for it. Let's do these. And web view. Oh, okay, I gotta attach it to it. So that will end up being in here, and we'll at least get some indication of if we are hitting an error or not. Window created. All this red definitely has me questioning if I'm doing something wrong. Let's go ahead and give this a refresh. Did save. What are we doing, web view window? Let's try turning on and off again. It seems like it's doing something funky. So this should give us... I'm not sure about like the lifetimes and whatnot here. So like this just might be very well be my poor view knowledge showing. So I think we'll give this a shot. And basically what we'll end up doing is I'm presuming it's going to be something like this. And I don't know if we actually want to do this register shortcut here actually in the front end. I would like to do this in the Rust side of things, and it seems like you can. I just don't have a good example of it. And this is not helping me enough. I think we can pull in Tau directly. Global window event. Enums. Anytime I start getting into the tower and RAI stuff, I'm not sure how that fits into the main.rs and how like those imports and stuff work. Like one year is supposed to use one of those versus something for Tauri itself. That's something that I haven't gotten too deep in myself, either at all or on stream. Still running, eh? Ah, yeah, there you go. That, yeah, it says it right over there. Press Control Shift and App to toggle the inspector. So it must be loading some hotkey something or other. Element is missing end tag. Curious. Seems like we should be fine here. I'm not sure why. Do I have prettier turned off? Format. I haven't configured a formatter. We're gonna try that one. There we go. It did change all that though, so you know, there's that. This is so all right, fine, whatever. Still can't find the unhydrated though. I don't know if that matters. Would do we not actually have Tauri App's API installed? I think that's what's happening, and then that's just straight up causing us issues. There we go. Okay. What's the latest? 1, 2. See, this is gonna get awkward too because I can't put it in the root. I'm gonna have to put it in the actual like this. Oh, this is not in order or anything, so forgive me. But we are just going for an install just to see if this makes a difference. I think that's. I feel like I need to do some more setup with my my view in VS Code here, because I think like this is giving me errors, but it's not actually. I mean, it says it's. Well, maybe because it's started installing here, but also. I wonder if there's like, ooh. Peer dependency issues. It could very well be a PNMP version 2 version issue as well, because I am not terribly confident that the version of PNMP that I have installed is actually the right one. Let's give this a shot. If this doesn't work, we're gonna call it. We've been going for a good chunk of time, and I think we've dug into enough stuff to be useful here. Still starting up. We'll have to see what we want to do next time. It'd be kind of fun to experiment with this a little bit more. I think it's fun to do some of this on stream and potentially do some like open source contributions type stuff on stream, and like application of. I mean, it's one thing to do like demo apps or something in Tauri. It's a whole nother situation to like actually put it into a real world use case, rather than just a contrived example. And I think that's where things get especially valuable. You know, I forgot to put put like little messages down there or something like that. That would be kind of nice. But we've got I think this is still going to work. Come on, you can do it. That probably also doesn't help as far as like running builds and Rust. Like we're really pushing the system a little bit. Did I break that? Action cues. Command came in. Interesting. Did I break it? Command. Commands. Drop. Oh, what? No. That should work. One of those days. Speaking of one of those days, yep. Element is missing end tag. So what did we... It seems like everything's closed and whatnot. Let's do this. Oh, okay. There. Oh boy. What? Ugh, jeez. Is that what we're complaining about here? Repeated 4 times. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely... There we go. Okay. That was it. When I was trying to do the imports with the VS Code helper, it was just dumping stuff at the bottom here, and that's where we were getting issues. All right, let's give this a shot. We should have Control Q. It should be the thing that we press to make the thing happen. Invalid args. Message for command log. Invalid type. Expected a string. What? Console.error. Whatever. We'll just do that. I think that's the logger coming into play. Yeah, that's fine. Because we've got this console.log, and I think we've got a Rust logger that's like piping it from our I think any of the console.logs that were showing up here are basically like being piped over to Rust. And what it's saying is message for command log invalid type map. So it's expecting a string and it's not getting that. So if we do like a okay, so we're getting an ID. Error, hotkey already registered. I think we'll have to play around with that logger too. Invalid args message for command log. So like it's this log plugin that's giving us, I think giving us this error. Hotkey already registered. It's fine. Probably in a code it makes sense to like check if it has been registered yet and then do it or not. So it was registered. Hotkey already registered. Weird. I don't know why it's not creating a new window. This could very well be a view thing. The how we're setting it up in view is potentially cursed. I can't admit that this is, or I'm gonna freely admit that this is probably not good view code. But that might be a part of the fun playing around with this, get into view, and I guess Next a little bit more. Because this is all very much a whole bunch of view. And like, I generally understand it and it still has sort of the same component type architecture. But some of these more advanced things, I feel like I don't know how to do those. So we would have to like dig into that a little bit more. And doing that on stream might be kind of fun. So I think that's where we're gonna leave it. We'll it would be nice to put global shortcuts in the back end. We'll probably double check on that and ask other core members if I'm missing something there. I feel like we had examples for doing it in Rust, but I'm not seeing them, so I'm wondering if I'm just mistaken and it doesn't actually work on the Rust side of things. And if we could do that, I think that would make it would feel a little bit more natural, having a way to like trigger events that we could listen to on the front end. I guess we wouldn't even need to listen on the front end, because if we were triggering events, we're listening for events, we could do that all in Rust, in which case we open up a window. And I feel like opening up a window is probably going to be the way to go. In which case, all of this could go away. And all we're doing is just straight up opening up a new window with some content. Probably with inputs of the update event. So when we press a shortcut, like I don't know, Control U or something like that, that could be the event that we're or the shortcut that we're listening for to trigger an event that uses like default information that makes it feel like an actual update event, in which case we open up a window and go through that flow. Yeah. All right, I think that's what we're gonna call it. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks again, Peter, for hopping in and exploring the elk-native side of things, and thanks again for your insights for the actual elk implementation itself. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate what y'all are doing with elk. It's pretty nifty. I definitely feel like it makes me want to use, I mean, the Mastodon default web page is not bad, but I do like what y'all are doing with elk. And yeah, I am looking forward to seeing where the native app goes. So we'll keep poking on it, but next time. So y'all have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Keep on experimenting. Bye.